Sometimes, the person you trust the most is the one who breaks you completely. I was folding his shirts when I found the receipt, a single crumpled piece of paper, tucked between the sleeves of his favorite blue one. It wasn't from the grocery store or a restaurant we had been to together. It was for a boutique spa in the city, a place I had never been, but heard about from someone. Yes, from her. The receipt wasn't in his wallet. It wasn't filed away. It was hidden. That's what struck me first. After 20 years of marriage, you think you know someone. You believe you can predict how they'll take their coffee, what shows they'll pretend not to like, the silly way they hum in the shower. But you can't predict betrayal. You can't feel it coming. It doesn't knock, it crashes. My name is Elena. I'm 47, a mother of 2 grown children, and I used to believe, in forever, David and I were high school sweethearts. We met when I was 16, and he was 18. He held my hand through my mother's cancer, proposed to me on the cliffs of Devon, and whispered that I was the only woman he'd ever love. Now I realize he was rehearsing. That day, when I found the receipt, I didn't confront him. I placed it back where I found it and finished folding his clothes. That's what 20 years does to you. Teaches you how to pretend, but the truth never stays buried. 2 days later, I saw them. Not a chance encounter. I followed him. Yes, I did. After 20 years, you get this instinct. A gut feeling that pulls you forward, even when your brain begs you to stop. They were sitting at an outdoor cafe near the spa, laughing. Her hand grazed his. His eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years, maybe decades. Her name is Rachel, my best friend since university. She was the maid of honor at my wedding, the godmother of my children. She cried with me when my father died. She slept on my couch when her first marriage collapsed. I held her broken heart, and she held mine. Or so I thought. I turned and walked away before they saw me. At night, I laid beside David in silence. He snored gently, unaware, or perhaps too aware. He didn't ask me how my day was. He didn't kiss my forehead like he used to. Maybe he thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. In the following days, I fell into myself. Everything felt surreal, like watching your house burn, down through a glass window, but not being able to move. I cooked his meals. I washed his clothes. I smiled at neighbors. And inside, I screamed. Rachel texted me the next morning. Coffee next week. Miss our chats. I stared at the message for 5 full minutes. Sure, I replied. What else do you say to? A woman sleeping with your husband. We met that Friday at our usual place. A small cafe with ivy crawling up the brick walls. She wore red lipstick and a scarf I had once gifted her. I wanted to grab the coffee cup and hurl it at her, but I didn't, because I was still Elena, still the polite, graceful, composed wife and friend. How's David? She asked. My hands trembled, just slightly. Oh, he's busy lately. She nodded, smiled. The kind of smile that knows something, that guards a secret, that kills quietly. I think he's hiding something, I said. Rachel's eyes flicked to mine for the briefest second. Then, control. What do you mean? He's been going to the city a lot. Says it's work, but he comes home smelling like perfume I don't wear. Her smile thinned. I sipped my coffee and leaned in. I think he's having an affair. Now she looked away. A pause. Men are stupid, she whispered. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because of how well she played the game. That evening, I waited for David at home. The children were at university, the house eerily quiet. I had lit candles. Not for him, for me. I needed courage. When he came in, he looked surprised to see me dressed. Makeup on. Elena, he asked. I held up the receipt. Forgot something in your pocket. He froze. For the first time in years, I saw him vulnerable. His eyes darted, searching for an answer. She means nothing, he began. And just like that, my world collapsed into ash. A woman becomes unstoppable after she's been broken and decided to rise anyway. He stood there like a boy caught stealing. The same man who once read Pablo Neruda to me under the stars, now stood silent, exposed, small. She means nothing, David repeated, softer this time, like saying it more gently might erase the weight of the betrayal. I laughed. A dry, joyless sound. She's my best friend, David. Or was. Does that mean I meant nothing to you either? He opened his mouth, then closed it. His eyes watered, but I had no tears left to give. Mine had dried up in the shower, in the kitchen, on long, silent drives, through empty roads. Did you love her while we sat at dinner together? I asked. While we toasted anniversaries. While she held our children on Christmas. Elena, please. You told me forever. I didn't mean for this to happen. That's what cowards say. Then what did you mean, David? To ruin 20 years in secret? He reached for my hand. I stepped back. Don't, I said sharply. Silence stretched across the room like a heavy fog, the kind that swallows everything. Words, history, even pain. That night, he slept in the guest room. Or maybe he didn't sleep at all. I didn't ask. I sat in our bed, staring at old photo albums. Our honeymoon, birthdays, our daughter's ballet recital. The way his eyes looked at me in 2005. So much light. Now it was gone. The next day, I made an appointment with a divorce lawyer. I didn't tell David. Not yet. I needed to gather the pieces of myself first. I also didn't tell Rachel. Her betrayal cut deeper than his. She knew me. Not the wife version, but the real me. The one who cried after losing her job. The one who confessed fears of aging, of feeling invisible. And she used that intimacy like a weapon. I went back to our cafe one last time. Rachel was already there, sipping on her overpriced cappuccino. Her red lipstick was smudged. I didn't sit. I know, I said. She looked up, startled. What? I know about you and David. The silence was thunderous. Elena, it's complicated, she began. No, it's simple, I interrupted. You slept with your best friend's husband. That's not complicated. That's disgusting. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't care. She had chosen her tears over mine long ago. I thought you'd hate me, she whispered. I don't, I said. I pity you. She looked confused. You'll never have what I had. And what you do have now, it was stolen. And stolen things break easily. And with that, I left. I never saw her again. A week later, David begged. He wrote long emails, left handwritten notes on the kitchen counter. We can fix this, he said. I made a mistake. But some mistakes don't come with a reset button. Some burn the whole house down. I began packing, slowly, silently. Each item I placed in the box felt like a small funeral. The photo frame from Paris, the wedding album, my mother's china, now dusty with forgotten love. I moved out. I didn't want the house. It had become a tomb of false memories. I rented a small flat near the river, just me and the quiet. The first few nights were brutal. I kept checking the door like someone might come home. I cooked too much food. I cried at the smell of his cologne still on my scarf. But something strange also began to happen. I started breathing again, without his snide comments, without the constant emotional shrinking, without Rachel's shadow lurking behind every girl's night. I went for walks. I joined a pottery class. I even dyed my hair red. Something wild, something I never dared before. At the pottery class, I met Nora, 63, divorced twice, child-free, bold. She wore turquoise rings and told inappropriate jokes. She said exactly what I needed to hear. Darling, men leave, friends betray, but life waits for no one. So take it by the throat and dance. And I did. I started freelancing again, writing, editing. Words came back to me like long-lost friends. I wrote about grief, betrayal, rebirth. One piece was even published in a local magazine. The editor said my voice was honest, raw, unforgettable. I had forgotten I could be unforgettable. David sent flowers once. A note tucked inside read, "She's gone. I miss you. Can we talk?" I didn't reply. I gave the flowers to the old lady next door. She smiled. "Someone loves you." "Not anymore," I said, but it felt good to be misunderstood. One morning, I stood by the river as the sun broke through grey clouds. A woman jogged past with her dog. 2 children laughed on bikes. The world moved forward, and I moved with it. In the reflection, I saw a different Elena, not the wife, not the betrayed friend, but me, free, whole, healing. Sometimes the person you were meant to become is hiding beneath the version you were forced to be. There was a time when I couldn't recognize the woman in the mirror, wife, mother, housekeeper, of broken dreams. But now I knew her. She was me. The small apartment I had moved into looked cold and impersonal at first. A temporary refuge. Cardboard boxes lined the walls like silent witnesses. But day by day, I unpacked not just my things, but my sense of self. I replaced old photo frames with prints of places I wanted to visit. Tuscany, Kyoto, the cliffs of Moher. I bought a soft teal couch, the kind David would have called too feminine. I strung fairy lights in the kitchen. I played Nina Simone while cooking, and for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel suffocating. It felt sacred. Rediscovery. I started journaling again, something I hadn't done since my 20s. At first, the pages were messy. Anger, sorrow, betrayal, confusion, but eventually the words changed. Today I woke up and didn't feel dread. Today I wore red lipstick and liked how it looked. Today I didn't think about them once. My therapist Maya helped me find the cracks in the shame I had unknowingly built around myself. "You were loyal," she said. "They weren't. That's not your shame to carry." She made me realize something powerful. I had been conditioned to believe endurance was strength. But strength is also walking away, saying enough, letting go of a life that looked perfect but felt hollow. New life, new lens 3, months after. The separation. I took a solo trip to Barcelona. I had always wanted to go, but David didn't like Spain. Too loud, too crowded, so I went alone. I walked through narrow alleyways in the Gothic quarter. I tasted olives at a market, danced with strangers at a flamenco bar, and sat on a rooftop at sunset, sipping sangria and feeling something I hadn't in years. Joy. Not borrowed joy, not performative joy, real, deep, belly-warming joy. One night I sat by the beach with my journal and wrote, "I am not lost. I am being remade. The message." When I returned home, I found a message waiting for me from Rachel. "I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I just needed you to know. I lost everything too." I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel pity either. Just clarity. I typed back, "Some things are unforgivable, but I hope you heal too." I never heard from her again. David, on the other hand, tried one last time. He called me from a number I didn't recognize. "Elena, I'm sorry," he said. "She left. It was a mistake." There was a time I would have dropped everything for that voice. A time I would have cried, or begged, or burned with hope. Now, I smiled calmly and replied, "It wasn't just one mistake. It was years of small ones that chipped me away, and now that I'm whole again, I won't shatter for you." Then I hung up. It didn't hurt. It felt like closing a book I no longer needed to finish. I launched a blog about starting over after betrayal. It began with a single post titled, "After He Left Me, I Found Myself." Within days, it went viral. Thousands of women wrote back, "This is my story too. Thank you for putting my pain into words. You reminded me I'm not alone." I was stunned. My heartbreak had become a bridge. My words, a mirror for others. Soon I was invited to speak at women's workshops. Me, the woman who once felt invisible at her own dinner table. Now I was standing on stages, telling women they were more than someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's second choice. They were enough, on their own, closure. On what would have been our 21st anniversary, I walked into a bookstore, bought a copy of a poetry collection I loved in college, and wrote a note inside. "To the woman I used to be, thank you for surviving. To the woman I am now, thank you for choosing yourself." I left it on a park bench. Maybe someone else would find it. The ending. That wasn't one morning. I stood on my balcony, coffee in hand, sunlight kissing my skin. A new neighbor waved. I waved back. I didn't know what the future held. Maybe love, maybe not. But I wasn't waiting to be chosen anymore. I had already chosen me, and that was the beginning.